Friends, it is day 30 of our September Scripture Challenge. We are at the end of this journey through Genesis. We're going to hear those final verses and look at Genesis 49, verse 29, through chapter 50, verse 26, as we finish up Genesis today. I hope this journey has been interesting for you, that you have learned some insights from this book that is scandalous and hard at times, and so full of rich blessing, as well as we have learned about the history of God's people and God's presence among them. As we hear our text today, you're invited to think about those reflection questions, which you've heard so many times now, but hopefully those can become a tool and a resource for you as you carry on in your own Bible study and reading. These are questions that can just help prompt your thinking anytime you sit down with the scriptures. Those questions are: what is a word or phrase that stands out to you? What is one question this text sparks for you? And what is God speaking through this text today? Here is Genesis chapter 49, verse 29 through the end. Then he charged them, saying to them, I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my ancestors in the cave in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave in the field at Machpelah, near Mamre, in the land of Canaan, in the field that Abraham bought from Ephron the Hittite as a burial site. There Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried. There Isaac and his wife Rebekah were buried. And there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is in it were purchased from the Hittites. When Jacob ended his charge to his sons, he drew up his feet into his bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Then Joseph threw himself on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. Joseph commanded the physicians in his service to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. They spent 40 days in doing this, for that is the time required for embalming. And the Egyptians wept for him for 70 days. When the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph addressed the household of Pharaoh. If now I have found favor with you, please speak to Pharaoh as follows. My father made me swear an oath. He said, I am about to die. In the tomb that I have hewn out for myself in the land of Canaan, there you shall bury me. Now therefore, let me go up, so that I may bury my father. Then I will return. Pharaoh answered, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear to do. So Joseph went up to bury his father. With him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his household, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, as well as the household of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's household. Only their children, their flocks, and their herds were left in the land of Goshen. Both chariots and charioteers went up with him. It was a very great company. When they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, they held there a very great and sorrowful lamentation. And he observed a time of mourning for his father for 7 days. When the Canaanite inhabitants of the land saw the mourning on the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning on the part of the Egyptians. Therefore, the place was named Abel Mizraim. It is beyond the Jordan. Thus his sons did for him as he had instructed them. They carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field at Machpelah, near the field near Mamre, which Abraham bought as a burial site from Ephron the Hittite. After he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who had gone up with him to bury his father. Realizing that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers said, What if Joseph still bears a grudge against us? and pays us back in full for all the wrong we did to him." So they approached Joseph, saying, "Your father gave this instruction before he died. Say to Joseph, 'I beg you, forgive the crime of your brothers and the wrong they did in harming you. Now, therefore, please forgive the crime of the servants of the God of your father.' Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also wept, fell down before him, and said, 'We are here as your slaves.' But Joseph said to them, 'Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? Even though you intended to do harm to me, God intended it for good, in order to preserve a numerous people, as he is doing today. So have no fear. I myself will provide for you and your little ones.' In this way, he reassured them, speaking kindly to them. So Joseph remained in Egypt, he and his father's household, and Joseph lived for 110 years. Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation. The children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were also born on Joseph's knees. Then Joseph said to his brothers, 'I am about to die, but God will surely come to you and bring you up out of this land to the land that he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob.' So Joseph made the Israelites swear, saying, 'When God comes to you, you shall carry up my bones from here.' And Joseph died, being 110 years old. He was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt." Friends, that concludes our journey through Genesis. I'm so glad that you have been able to join us on this journey as we have worked at making scripture reading a daily habit for us. As you reflect on these closing words of Genesis, you are welcome to answer these questions. What is a word or phrase that stands out to you? What is one question this text sparks for you? And what is God speaking through this text today? You can share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'd also love to hear from you about what this experience has been like for you, reading scripture daily and working our way all the way through Genesis. Like I said, it is a rich and challenging text. Most of all, it is full of God's covenant promise and God's steadfast love. I hope you got to experience some of that as we read all of Genesis together. Thanks for joining us on this journey.